Test one.
Talk a little louder, just
There we go.
There.
I had to add you back to the stream. So this is going to be our first Photo Tips Monthly of 2023, and we're kind of changing the format a little bit. And Jim has been our guru here. He's kind of and we've never really had the three of us in the same place at the same time.
Not for Photo Tips Monthly,
because
it's always been where he's broadcasting from remotely and we're broadcasting remotely, and so we're going to try to make this more of a kind of a roundtable type discussion with him versus just a class. We a lot of these tips that Jim has. A lot of the information that Jim has, can get very entailed, and sometimes a single class just is like it feels more like a teaser, and I think we're sometimes doing some of our users a disservice. So I think we want to still provide them essential information, but we don't want to tease them either. You know what I'm saying? So that's,
and we have some plans of even still adding this to maybe almost like a podcast form.
Yeah, kind of more of a podcast interview form, and whereas we'll bring in other photographers. Jim will we're all three of us will be kind of co-hosting. He's kind of like one of those.
So it's gonna be the Finer Works experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the Finer Works Lenders photography.
And we've been talking about this, I think, for several months now, trying to get this into a fruition sort of stuff. And honestly, with this group, it's like just jump in and do it, and we'll make it work. But it was something that each one of us in our brainstorming for this new live stream, I think James was bringing in inspiration from, you were saying, comedians in cars kind of thing you like.
Where they just kind of sit around and they talk about different topics. And I think, photography has so much content that can be discussed. I think we can go on forever. I think, one of the problems, we're wanting to make these kind of short and sweet, about 30 minutes, but even containing these within 30 minutes might be a little difficult, but we'll do our best.
Right.
Us three being contained in 30 minutes is actually really difficult.
But by creating kind of a little bit less of a formal format, I think it can be more fun, more spontaneous. But yeah, like I said, we want to bring other photographers in, Jim, where they can have a dialogue with Jim and they can have a dialogue with us. And so where we're just, we're not just throwing a bunch of, just
here's class.
I feel like I need to, take notes kind of deal.
And then Jim does something that I have loved, like every week. It's take a photographer to lunch that you do, and you go to your Rotary Club. They kind of have a lunch with you, and you get to hear. And do you know a lot of these photographers already beforehand, or some are they kind of your?
The majority of the photographers that take advantage of Lunch with Landers are new to me. I may have crossed paths with them through social media,
Mhm.
but the majority of them I've not yet met. So I'm meeting them for the first time at lunch.
At lunch. And I just thought that was interesting because I know you have to kind of get all of these questions in, like, I'm brand new to photography, or they might be in different things. I've been doing photography now for 5 years. I want to take it to the level of it being my, career and sole income. So you get all these different questions, and I thought if we could go ahead and do that and make you, the audience, kind of part of this. And so some of this, we're going to be looking for people who are new to photography and people who might be on that verge of also becoming mentors like you have. And so from that whole range, either whether you want to take place, if you're in the San Antonio area, want to come over here with us live and do this. In some cases, we may have some pre-recorded stuff so that we can show you things out and about, because I really like where you go out and shoot over at different things to show, like, with the shutter speed, and you have the waterfall there, and y'all do those, and you have some of these great, I want to call them excursions almost. They're like San
Call them
Antonio
field trips.
Field
Field
trips.
trips. It's too much like school.
It's exactly like that.
But I think I mean, it's something I've thrown out to you. I keep saying, I think that's what you got to do, is make these like classes that are excursions, that are people who are coming to San Antonio for their trip and want something to do. How great is it to go out with a team of photographers, especially because, like I said, I ran into a lady who at a gallery, and she was here from Minneapolis or someplace out of town and out of state, and wanted to go get pictures of the West Side murals as the sun was coming down. And I'm like, when she's telling me where she was wanting to go, I'm like, you do realize that's by the Bexar County Jail, right? And it's not really where you want to have expensive cameras. But, if you have somebody who knows the area, and I've seen them on Airbnb, and I've participated in some in New York, where you can go on either mural rides or photography rides, and you get to go take pictures. These people already have basically scouted the location thousands of times. They know what time to be there. They know when to shoot. And I think those can always be something really great to have.
Kind of a photo tour.
A photo tour, and you kind of incorporate a class or a tip, or like your, what do you call the small tips that we've had through photo tips, something that are in this hour and a half format. But to me, that's something I would pay for when I'm traveling, because I do like that. But there's times I don't know the area. Washington, D.C., you go over 2 blocks, you might be killed. And this side of the 2 blocks, you're going to see great historical things. So it's nice to have locals who can take you out to these things.
I don't know.
Those are fun.
Are there a whole lot of like photography excursions and that where photographers take?
There are.
Is that?
I had
common?
lunch just a few weeks ago with a photographer named Elise Bender. I made that mistake when I met her. But Elise is a photographer who does mostly tours. And she has several different things that she has set up in several different areas. And the most recent one, at least that I'm aware of, is she took a group of people down to South Padre and did a whooping crane tour, because the whooping cranes, they are here here in Texas this time of year. And so, and I know one of the people who went on the tour with her.
Now, you actually had one scheduled. I think it ended up having to get postponed.
Oh, in Colorado.
The annual Colorado.
Just an annual Colorado trip. I take a few photographers with me.
Yeah.
That's fun to do. I meet up with 2 photographers that live there in Colorado, and we just have a good week of fun, driving around, seeing the sights, photographing with, and being around other photographers. Like a lot of the photographers we go with aren't beginners, but they can be. But it's fun just being around other photographers, hearing different stories. And the other 2 that we take with us are both of them lived here in San Antonio prior to moving to Colorado. So they that's Chelsea and Mark, and they both they love photography, and Chelsea actually does tours all the time. She does star tours and different things throughout the year. In fact, she recently did something that was on her bucket list. She stayed overnight in an igloo. She built her own igloo and stayed overnight in it. And that was just what happened during that particular tour.
So is there a resource that people go to where they could, find all these photography tours? Or
There should be.
There should be. There's different outlets. Like I know Airbnb, you can always get an excursion added to your Airbnb.
But are there
And the photo ones, like
so there's photography excursions.
Mhm.
So so Airbnb, and then you sign up look for a
Something
photography
extra.
excursion.
Yeah, there's
So-
And then here,
That would be the way
San
to-
Antonio has mural rides, which are amazing. Brian over there is
But-
like, they'll
but-
let people come take pictures.
Yeah, but I feel that if you want to be very particular that it be a
Photography, yeah.
because you could go anywhere. Like for instance, I years ago I took I was in Athens,
Mhm.
and I was with the tour group because I want my wife and I, we wanted to see some the churches, these historical churches and stuff, and it was so boring.
Mhm.
I wanted to take pictures, but I had no idea what to photograph. And it was just a regular. It wasn't the tour guide was like, yeah, take pictures and stuff, but it was like I
Don't know what I'm doing. Or...
yeah, and yeah, you didn't have anyone to just kind of guide you and say, hey, you may want to take a look at that section over there, maybe photograph it from this angle,
Mhm.
something like that, where you actually really kind of learn something in the process. Where it's like, so
That's like I said,
I ended up taking a bunch of pictures of old brick walls, which
Makes for good backgrounds. You can
possibly,
print it out, put it on the
yeah,
wall.
but it's just
And then as you have probably gotten more into photography over the years since then, I mean, you can kind of frame now your own, no matter who takes you out anywhere, right?
yeah,
You feel
well, but at the time,
You were
I
learning.
was, yeah, I mean, I was, I'm afraid I don't even remember if I had a digital camera. I think I was shooting film.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it,
Okay, so this had to be
yeah, this
before
was, yeah, this,
1997.
oh yeah, this was,
I want to say digigital cameras came out
Mid-
around
mid-
97 with my daughters.
this
looking
was,
forward.
yeah, roughly around that time frame. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And I regret that.
it was back in the 90s. So
Yeah.
That was when the consumer level came out. The
Mhm.
pro level came out in 91
Mm-hmm.
with Kodak. Kodak came out with a professional level 1 megapixel one. And at the time, it was each megapixel was $10,000. So
Yeah.
that 1 megapixel camera from Kodak was $10,000.
Yeah.
You could get a 2 megapixel,
Mhm.
$20,000. And that's the
Wow.
only choices that they had
Yeah.
in 1991.
So yeah, like the
Yeah.
consumer ones that came out, and it was funny. Video cameras also had the option of a digital picture. While you did, I can't remember the brand, like a JVC camera, and I have my daughter, taking her to Disneyland and stuff, and it's like, well, you don't want to be doing 2 cameras at a time. And I thought this would be awesome. Now that I look at those poor pixelated images,
Yeah.
those are really
It was
hard.
cool then.
But this is kind of the format we want to have. Like I said, where we kind of let the conversation just sort of naturally
Yeah.
flow on here. And let's see, we have let's get and this is the thing, we really want audience participation. I always miss that
Francis.
one of these days, the one to Colorado. Yeah,
Francis is awesome. Francis, I'd love for you to come to Colorado with me.
yeah. I know I need to do one year in Colorado.
Bring your
I-
husband, too.
I love Denver area, and getting to shoot around there has been awesome. But again, that's where I say there's times that you want, when you go on these photo excursions, having someone who's either scouted it before,
Exactly.
so they know the times that you want to be. Like, you don't want to have this once in a lifetime opportunity. I went to Machu Picchu, and it's like, it was pouring below my feet, really, as we got up higher. It wasn't raining so much, but it was raining below us.
Yeah.
And then how the sun comes, certain times. So day one, we didn't know what time to pick to be up there. everybody's like, you got to wait till a little after noon, let the rain side kind of subside and everything, you'll see everything nice and clear. So sure enough, the next day we went a little later, and it was a better, view of everything. Our photos came out better. But having people who are there to know what time you need to be there for lighting purposes. And you've talked about this in several of your Photo Tips Monthly, when you want to planning your shoots and being out there at certain times. And on photo excursions that are completely planned out like that, it's so nice. Like I said, you have a local who knows what time that light's going to hit. And
that is why I have the other two photographers that live there, because I've been to Colorado, but I wouldn't be able to tell you those things that you just mentioned. When is the best time to go, and in what order, and what's the best route, or any of those variables. That's why they,
unless you spend, substantial time there, beforehand, you're going to likely miss out on a lot of prime opportunities, because, you don't know when the best time of day is to shoot, or what the weather might be like at times, and so there's all these unknown variables that you run into.
Weather plays a role.
Getting to let's say if you're photographing a landscape, getting to a really good spot you might find it a lot more challenging than it looks, especially up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And say, oh, I'll just go up on that ledge there. Then you find that you spend 30 minutes getting to that ledge, and by the time you get there, the sun's already down.
Well,
So-
and that's like from city to city. I went to Austin, and when I lived there, 360, it's beautiful up there. You want to get round rock boulders. Don't try to get up there in flip flops, which I did, and my friend thankfully gave me a piggyback ride all the way up, because I was sliding all over. Then you want to carry camera gear up there too.
Yeah. So you
Knowing the terrain.
So if you don't, really plan it all out beforehand, having a guide to help you, at least, say, hey, you won't have enough time to do it before you waste time trying to get a shot that you're not going to be able to get, is probably a good reason to go on a photo, excursion.
I said that there were two people. One of them is Mark Langford. He used to be a commercial photographer here in San Antonio, but lives in Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
Mhm.
He has been an amateur meteorologist for 20 years, maybe longer, a long time. And he maintains a meteorologist site here in San Antonio, and started one in Pagosa Springs area, and has a huge number of followers on both sides.
Hmm.
So he loves both things, photography and meteorology.
And you see those kind of married a lot. I know I've worked at the news station, and one of our things that we like to get are the photography from viewers we've had several that I've seen featured, the lightning. Gosh, I'm going to forget his name right now just because I need it. But some of our Geo Gallery artists and photographers locally have submitted those photos onto local CBS, local Fox news stations here, and they're amazing. And so meteorology and photography, those go really, really well together. Would you say, like, if I just want to kind of right now, while we have some of our viewers here, one, if you're watching live, or if you're watching the replay of this, put in where you're watching from, and let us know if you could go ahead and do a photo excursion and anywhere in the world. Where would you like to photograph? And we'll read those in the comments a little later, or if you're going to sign in live, we'll show those up as we're talking. But Francis, if you're still watching, tell us where your dream excursion photography event would be at. What city anywhere in the world? I'm kind of curious to see where people would want to go. How about you, Jim? Is there a bucket list that you have where would you, if money's not an object, any place you could go shoot at?
I really do enjoy going to Colorado. That's why we go there.
Mm-hmm.
But I up and down the Rockies, New Mexico, and going up to Wyoming and Montana. That whole area is just exciting to me. And of course, I'm never going to see it all.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing in your local area. We're here in San Antonio, Texas, but you may be anywhere in the world. But every once in a while, I'll come across someone who says there's nothing to do here.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to see. There's nothing to do. And I'm fascinated by that point of view, because from my point of view, there is so much stuff to do that I'll never have an opportunity to do it all.
Exactly.
And so I don't understand that philosophy of there's nothing to do here. Maybe they're not looking, or maybe they're only seeing the things that are being placed in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you seek out different opportunities, there's an endless supply of things to go see, things to go do. If you look at event sections on event websites like Do 210 and a bunch of others, there are so many events going on. There's not a single weekend that doesn't have some event on it.
Yeah.
And most of them 4, 5, or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so how is there not enough to do? This philosophy doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me.
I play tourist in San Antonio like every Sunday that I'm off. How about you? Is there like, I mean, you've been to Greece, so I'm like, okay, I'm like already hating you for that. But
Well, actually, it would be in Greece, but not where everyone goes, not the islands, not the not even Athens. It would be in the interior of Greece, in the mountains. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's especially as you get closer to the Albanian border, where my grandfather was from. That area is just, I mean, it was incredible to see that area. And, mountains, cliffs, these real dense forests. I mean, I would love to go back there and photograph with some really good camera equipment. And I took a trip to Alaska and did the Alaskan cruise. And I felt like it was neat to just kind of take it all in, but I'd like to go back there again so I can really kind of concentrate on things I wanted to photograph. Whereas before I wanted to just kind of, that's the problem. You go on a trip, and if you spend so much time focusing on trying to get that shot, you miss so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you almost like you have to
go a couple of times.
go take it all in and realize where the potential is before because you just don't know until you've really
Just charter your own yacht.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Those would probably be two of the places that I would. And believe it or not, there is a third place that I would love to just visit and then photograph, and that would be in some of the most remote parts of the Sahara Desert. Believe it or not, where you have these ancient rock formations, and people had lived there, eons ago, and they're just.
So you want to go to Timbuktu?
Maybe not that. Maybe I'm thinking more, further east.
More east.
Yeah.
Well, Frances is saying her, if she could have it, her dream photography place would be Ireland or Italy, and they do have beautiful places.
Yeah.
My cousins from Ireland, and the pictures I see, are also awesome. And I can photograph anywhere. I just find the things I find interesting. Like I said, even here, I love photographing what they call slaps or stickers on the things, because these are different artists that have made stickers, and I love to try to shoot them different ways. One is like to get into focus the slaps, the stickers on whatever they're on a pole or on a electric box here, and then try to get some of the iconic city in the back, sometimes I'm not never sure if I want it blurred or, and I like those. I have little prints of those at home, and just because I like it. And those are some of the travel things. In Japan, when we went to Tokyo, I was shooting the manholes over there because I have never seen the most beautiful manhole covers ever. They all, like, every little, I want to say the best way to kind of, it would be like the province or borough has their own mascots and stuff. So when you've moved out of another province, because the manhole covers kind of have changed.
Mhm.
And like kind of the way you would see City of Leon Valley, but it's just not just tight. There's the cherry blossoms in there and this big heavy, and some people do steal them. They lift them up, but not steal them far. They take them and they get ink and they roll it on there, and they'll take shirts and they start pressing a whole bunch of
Oh.
shirts with them. And really, Japan is so clean. And I'm this funny thing, I wouldn't mind a shirt done that way. It was so beautiful, but it's even being a small little island, it's you have that contrast of Tokyo, which is like New York City again, but then you can go somewhere and it is at Kyoto and it's just completely remote. The temples can be beautiful. You have that kind of country, feel to it. And I really love being over there. And we spent like 3 weeks there, and I want to go back and spend like several months. So maybe James will let me work remotely again, and I can go work remotely from Japan. I think right now it'd be like 6 a.m. or something like that. And so, we really want to go ahead and see those places. But I think that would be something excellent that you could
Something fun.
offer. I think that could just be the different thing with your photography school, and you could have, because like I said, there's people who pay a lot of money for the
that's true.
excursions. If you're in any, I used to be in a travel groups where you would go, you pay for the whole thing, and they plan your trip, and you go with this group of people, and sometimes you know them, sometimes you don't. If you've done several of the group trips, you know some of the
Yes.
people, but it's still kind of loose when you want something specific like that. I think it's that niche, and when you charge more for it, the people who want it are going to pay for it. It's like, yeah, I'd love to know how to photograph the Alamo. Like you were saying, how we can just kind of make people
How
disappear.
to photograph certain topics,
Yeah.
especially, that are kind of what everyone thinks about when photographing at a certain location. So if I'm going to Italy, obviously I'm going to photograph like in Rome,
Mhm.
I'm going to photograph the Colosseum.
Hmm.
So, how to best capture
The time.
that iconic photo that you usually might see of a particular landmark or
And,
building or
tourism,
something like
the
that.
city tourism groups could
So.
just jump all over that, because
But-
that would bring groups to your
But yeah,
thing.
I think finding those guys, wherever it is in the world, that can
Yeah.
help you capture those iconic images, because then you can call that your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm photographing the Alamo here, I really feel like it's my own, and I'm proud of that picture because I had that tutelage as to how to capture it.
Yeah.
I think that's and again, it's wherever in the world it is, that find that right group, that right photography. So
And we're
cool.
almost already at 7, but like I said, these chats can go anywhere from 30 minutes. And I was asking James, what do you want to do? Do you want to close down at 30 minutes? He's like, if the conversations keeps running,
Yeah.
let it go. And especially if we get, we have people asking
I
questions
think
or something like that.
yeah, and I think when we bring in some guests, that are more likely to.
And speaking
Yeah.
of guests, so we're gonna, I don't know if you got a hold of that one gentleman you've been talking about. Okay, but there's what I have found interesting. I'm on a bunch of photo groups that Jim is also, but there's always somebody asking, I'm looking for a mentor or somebody to help me start my photography, either business, or I want to learn more techniques. And I told Jim it's really interesting that as soon as I look in the comments, there's about 3 or 4 people who've already gone ahead and said Jim Landers, and he's just tagged on all of that stuff. And again, he does invites them either to lunch or he starts a dialogue with them. And those people, we're going to go ahead and reach out to several of them and see if any of them can go ahead and meet with us maybe during the next few weeks. And we're going to actually kind of tape, we're going to pre-record some parts of it, and then I will be here with y'all live to take your comments and stuff on the video that we're going to show you from and so everything can sometimes be a little different on here. And what people are Oh yeah, look, see, there's the validation right there. Francis already was letting you know.
Francis.
And like I said, if you're in San Antonio and you know Jim Wonders, this is really who you recommend to find anything. And what's great about Jim is that he gives information so freely, which I always think is amazing. You help everybody and anybody. So I just like I said, everybody kind of appreciates that, and you can tell by a lot of the comments, like Francis has said, that you get.
Thank you.
But
Appreciate that.
so we'll hopefully reach out for that for February's First Friday, and First Friday, I mean my art wrong. It's second Saturday. Second Saturday in February actually falls on Valentine's Day, so that's why we're going to do a little bit of recording on that, because I have two married co-hosts here that Valentine's Day they are obligated to be somewhere.
I have small children.
It doesn't
Valentine's Day
matter.
is just another day.
It's gummy.
You might not wanna say
It's
that
heart-shaped.
publicly.
It's heart-shaped gummy bears in your hair, though. That's what Valentine's is, and you get to eat
Yeah.
all the kids'
They're
Valentine
a
candy.
little too young for.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, we can go ahead and give y'all some Valentine candy
she's
from
not
school.
much into
She's not. Well,
it.
maybe
so I
I'll.
lucked out.
I might. Who knows? I might have James here with me or something. But we're going to show you. I just want y'all to get an idea of that of Jim's conversation with an artist. Kind of again, just like this format. Bring them on, hear what their question. We'll try to focus on one question because of the time limitation.
Let that person just
kind of
ask their questions.
Yeah, and let
yeah,
them
and
pick
then
your
let
brain.
us respond.
Yeah.
and maybe we ask them some questions too, because they may have
Oh,
some
heck yeah.
insight on certain things.
Exactly. You can learn from everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's what this is going to kind of be is learning from everybody, because everybody in their photography
So-
journeys in
yeah.
different stages,
So this is kind of to introduce to everyone what our intent is with the Photo Tips Monthly, which now is going to be run for about 30 minutes every second Tuesday.
Mhm.
And I think it'll be a lot of fun. Do you have anything you wanted to share?
I've always got stuff.
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
can
say,
share.
what's
Yeah,
going on?
I mean, anything, like immediately.
Well, there's
Immediate interest.
the Photo Essay Camera Club has a monthly photo competition. And of course, Finer Works knows this because they've been sponsoring the grand prize winner for 15 years at least.
Yeah,
A long time.
Yeah.
And
from the beginning.
yeah, from the beginning.
Yeah.
I just don't remember when the beginning was. Photo Essay has been around since 2006, but we didn't start that until probably 2008. Yeah, somewhere in that range. And so every month you can submit up to 5 images. There's a different topic every single month. And you go to meetup.com/photo essay, meetup.com/photo essay to get more information on that. And the one that just ended was Contrast, but the one coming up is Perfectly Imperfect.
And you don't have to, technically, you don't even have to attend the meeting in person
Correct. Yeah.
to participate. So anyone that joins, and even though it's for San Antonio, you don't even have to.
We have members from all over.
All over.
Some because
Yeah.
they were here and have moved away.
Yeah.
There's someone who he doesn't participate as much anymore, but he's living in Washington State.
Yeah.
So he did for a little while, but still submit images.
Yeah.
But there's others that have just
And
moved
there's-
out,
and
and they
there's-
can be anywhere.
And there's
There's no
prizes involved.
Mhm.
There are prizes
Prizes are
involved.
always good.
We have up to 6 images that we award each time, and it could be just a few. It's just 1 or 2. We each, the person who's doing the doing the judging gets to choose, what's appropriate for this, and what they feel is the right number of winners, up to 6, and the overall winner gets a So $100 gift card.
$100 gift card. Well, the overall winner has their. Well, I think we changed it to
Yeah,
$100 gift. We were
it
trying to
was
do
that
a,
we did the print
it
for
did a
them,
print,
like a 16 by 20 or a
but we
16
kind of
by
got
24
away from that.
because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
sometimes the images may not.
There's topics sometimes that you
Don't-
don't want them on your wall.
Yeah, I mean the person who won the photo challenge, did so rightly, and it's the perfect, winning photo, but yeah, it doesn't really quite lend itself to home decor.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of times there's instances of that, or maybe the photo was just cropped a little bit too much to get a good size print. So at least we can still, reward them for that
Mhm.
by giving them a gift card. And I think
Yeah.
that was the thinking behind that. So
And that works.
basically,
Works
a gift
well.
card gives people Finer Works credits that they can then use to order prints with.
Mhm. And like I said, if they want to come to fineworks.com, they can actually buy their own credits if they.
Yeah, right now they get 5% additional credits for every dollar spent, and it's the credits are a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every credit, it's worth $1. So if you buy $100 in credits, you actually get 105 credits in return. So you can
Nice.
extra 5%.
Very cool.
Yeah, so you can find on there. And one thing before we leave is that we do have a really great sale going on right now.
Yeah. Anyone that has never done, here's the thing. You know what a face mounted acrylic print
Yes,
looks
those
like.
are awesome.
Okay. So many photographers love metal prints, and we love metal prints. We do tons of metal prints here. But when you see a face mounted acrylic print,
You're gonna be impressed.
your metal prints will seem subpar in comparison. And not that they are, it's just that there's something about that acrylic, the weight, the feel. I mean, they look incredible, these face mounted acrylic prints. So they're very difficult to do correctly. So they're not the most inexpensive product that we have. But every now and then we decide to help people out because we know a lot of photographers love these. So we right now we're doing 30% off.
Wow,
So
that's huge.
yeah, so it's a good deal.
Especially if you've never tried it. That's
Yeah.
the best time
Yeah.
is to try it during
Try it
these
right
final
now.
sales.
Yeah, and our acrylics are, in my opinion, some of the best out. I've seen a lot of acrylic prints, face-mounted acrylic prints, and the ones that people order from Finer Works are top-notch. I mean, in quality, just the way they're packaged. A lot of effort is made to make sure that they arrive in good condition, whether it be a small acrylic or a large one. And it's a very expensive shipping process because the weight and what has to go into package these effectively, prevent them from getting damaged. So, but it's definitely well worth it.
I actually have a question from a local photographer here, Raymond Phillips, and he was asking about the archival nature of once they become adhered to acrylic. Does that change? How long? Because I know for what do you call it? For archival prints, they say anywhere from 75 to 150 years.
No,
Does that
so
change going?
the adhesive with the face mount acrylic, and as you can see with this graphic here, is that the acrylic is right up, or the print is right up against the acrylic. Now there is an adhesive layer that's invisible to the eye, but that is actually making it possible to stick that acrylic to, and it's more or less like a laminate, two-sided laminate is basically what it is. And so that laminate itself is not going to harm the archivalness of the print. And it's also going to allow that print to be, directly in contact with the acrylic glass without actually being in contact with it. So there's this two-sided laminate, basically, that acts as a buffer between it. The graphic doesn't really show it, but and then on the back, there's either a layer of paper or a layer of dye bond. And now, all these items are acid-free, so they're not going to cause they're not going to have an adverse reaction to the inks. Now, the inks themselves, we're using these are Canon Lucia inks, which are, some of the most, top archival aqueous inks, pigmented inks in the industry, and they're printed on either Canon 4100s or Canon Pro 4100s or Canon Pro 4000s, using the satin luster MAB exhibition luster paper or the metallic paper. And they really just make the images pop. So you have a high resolution photo that you want to print, this is the perfect media to do it.
So take advantage
And
of
the
that sale.
perfect price.
Yeah, take advantage of that sale. Again, you can find the details up at the top of our site. The promo code is winter. And this sale ends on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th, yeah.
So don't have any bad luck and miss out on that sale. And and
So order before Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Don't wait until Friday the 13th.
Make sure
You can, but maybe you should.
So take advantage of that, and we'll see you guys on Valentine's Day, February 14th, and we'll have a photographer on with some issues, and we'll go ahead and talk to him here and get for you to, relate to those topics as well. And if you have any questions or there's something you want us to address on something, go ahead and put that in the comments, and I'll get those to Jim, and we'll see about putting something together for you. Have a great one.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.